Hello viewers, welcome to the lecture on microbiology. Today I shall be talking on water food chain, upwelling and eutrophication. As we all know that aquatic system, that is ecosystem, is one of the most important and productive ecosystems on the earth. It provides food and ecological support for many species. According to the US Environmental Protection Agency, over 70% of the terrestrial species are dependent upon this aquatic ecosystem during some points of their life cycles. The health of this aquatic ecosystem is maintained by a balance of forces and a cycle of nutrients within each system. Water food chain, upwelling and eutrophication play a vital role to control the health of this aquatic ecosystem. Aquatic food chain indicates the feeding relationship between aquatic organisms. Here, energy gets transferred from the primary producers to top level of consumers. Phytoplanktons are the primary producers over here, whose growth is controlled by the availability of nutrients. Upwelling is an ecogeographical phenomenon through which the surface water gets enriched with the nutrients. The abundance of these nutrients is controlled in a natural way unless anthropogenic activities interfere. Agricultural runoff, sewage sludge and other human-related activities increase the flow of inorganic nutrients and organic substances within the hydrosphere. This oversupply of nutrients causes eutrophication. It leads to the deterioration of water quality and ultimately disrupting the normal functioning of the ecosystem. So what is aquatic food chain? It makes a great contribution in the stepwise transfer of energy in terms of food, where a simple linkage occurs from producers to consumers through feeding relationship. It depicts the structure of the living components of the hydrosphere. Usually, food chain starts with plants, that is primary producers. Phytoplankton and zooplanktons are primary producer and primary consumer respectively. These zooplanktons are eaten up by small fishes, that is secondary consumer, on which tertiary consumer, that is large fishes, are dependent for their energy sources. At the top, the quaternary consumer like whale is present, which again eats this tertiary consumer. Different types of food chain are present in different types of aquatic habitats. Even human can be placed at the top level of consumers in the aquatic food chain, like from algae to mosquito larvae to dragonfly larvae to fish to human. In all cases, the ultimate position is occupied by decomposers, that is bacteria. The dead bodies of plants and animals are decomposed into simple forms by bacterial action, and these simple forms get mixed with the environment.
Ma'am, I have a question. What are the factors controlling aquatic food chain?
Yes, these are the factors like light, oxygen, temperature, pH, water quality, food, crowding and reproductive features, which control the aquatic food chain. Now we will know how this aquatic food chain functions in the aquatic ecosystem. A number of aquatic food chains are linked together to form a network called aquatic food web. In this food web, the complex groups of organisms perform different functions. The health of this aquatic food web is very important. A balanced aquatic food web can be the indicator of the quality of aquatic habitat. Primary producers are the foundation of this aquatic food web. They use nutrients along with carbon dioxide to harness sunlight energy to create biomass through the process of photosynthesis. The phytoplankton biomass are the producers. So, it creates biomass, and these biomass are the primary food source for other aquatic organisms, including zooplankton. These zooplankton are small heterotrophic organisms which feed on phytoplankton community and other zooplankton also, and are themselves food for large planktivores. So, the size and diversity of the phytoplankton community determines the diversity of the zooplankton community. When the zooplankton community eats this phytoplankton community, their biomass increase. In this way, they already support the community of other like small fishes and large fishes community. And in this process, the energy from sun is transferred up the aquatic food web, eventually feeding the apex predators like sharks, whale, etc. On the basis of number of trophic levels and the amount of biomass present in each trophic level in aquatic food chain and aquatic food web, aquatic trophic pyramid can be constructed. Nutrient availability plays a central role in shaping this pyramid. Here the lowest as well as the widest level is occupied by phytoplankton as primary producers, which gradually narrows towards the top, keeping zooplankton, small fishes and large fishes in the next consecutive layers from the lower to upper level of this pyramid. Irrespective of all these efforts, it is not very easy to describe the complex and interrelationship between different aquatic organisms. Why? Because one aquatic organism can occupy more than one trophic levels and they can feed on different food items from different trophic levels also. Our next topic will be upwelling. It indicates wind-driven motion of cooler, dense, usually nutrient-rich water towards the surface of the water body, replacing the warmer, usually nutrient-depleted surface water. Different factors control this upwelling like wind, Coriolis effect, Ekman spiral and Ekman transport. What is Coriolis effect? When air moves from high to low pressure, it gets deflected to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere. This deflection is called as Coriolis effect, which is the result of the Earth's rotation. The amount of this deflection is directly related to the speed at which the air is moving and its latitude. Therefore, the slow-moving air will be deflected less than stronger winds. This deflection is more near the poles than in the equator, where Earth is wider and the Coriolis force is zero. This Coriolis force is the legendary cause of the direction of water and responsible for large-scale weather patterns. Ekman spiral is the consequence of Coriolis effect. When surface water molecules move by the wind force, they in turn drag deeper layers of water molecules below them. Each layer of water molecule is moved by the friction from the shallower layer, which gradually slows down from upper to lower unless it stops at a depth of about 100 meters. Like surface water, the deeper layer of water is deflected by the Coriolis effect, that is to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the southern hemisphere. As a result, each successive deeper layer of water moves more slowly to the right or left, ultimately creating a spiral effect. In this picture, we can see the Ekman spiral and its associated forces in northern hemisphere. 1 indicates wind, 2 is the force from above, which begins as the wind blows over the surface of water. 4 indicates Coriolis effect, which is at the right angle to the 2. The net water flow is indicated by 3, which becomes the force from above for the layer below it, gradually creating a spiral clockwise motion as it moves down. Ekman spiral creates Ekman transport. Surface water flow at a 45-degree angle to the wind due to a balance between Coriolis force and wind-water interaction, as we can see here. This Ekman transport is occurring away from the coast. Surface waters moving away are replaced by deeper, colder and dense water. The layer of water from the surface to the dissipation of Ekman spiral are called as Ekman layer. And if all the forces over this Ekman layer is integrated, the net resultant flow of water will be at 90 degree to the right of the surface wind in the northern hemisphere and at 90 degree to the left of the surface wind in the southern hemisphere. And these are called as Ekman transport.
I have a question, ma'am.
Yes.
What are the effects of upwelling?
Okay, before that I must say that the rate and occurrence of upwelling vary due to the strength and distance of wind, and it creates number of consequences, and these are the effects. As we already know that upwelling provides nutrient-rich water, without which the rest of the trophic pyramid cannot get sustained and ecological balance will get collapsed. It is the important source of marine productivity, which attracts many species like fishes, birds, mammals, etc. It supports some of the most productive fisheries in the world, and it controls biodiversity, which has been a focal point for marine research. Our next topic will be eutrophication, which means healthy, adequate nutrition and development. Eu means true or well, and trophy means nutrition. Eutrophication, more precisely hypertrophication, is a natural process which occurs as lake's age, and it gradually builds up its own concentration of plant nutrients. It is a response of the ecosystem to the addition of nutrients artificially or naturally within the aquatic zone. The rich nutrient input stimulates phytoplankton growth, and when it undergoes population explosion, it causes aquatic bloom. It leads to the depletion of oxygen in the water body, and this oxygen is very essential for aquatic life to survive. This eutrophication starts with oversupply of nutrients, which induces explosive growth of plants along with algae, and when these organisms die, they sink to the bottom and decompose. The bacterial decomposition consumes oxygen in the water body, ultimately creating a hypoxia, that is, depletion of oxygen from the water body, and ultimately death of aquatic life occurs. Eutrophication is of two types, natural and artificial. Natural eutrophication typically occurs as lake's age. Climate change, geology and other external factors influence it. It is very slow in comparison to artificial eutrophication, which occurs more rapidly, and it causes problem in the affected water bodies and ultimately in the aquatic ecosystem. Natural eutrophication causes ecological succession, through which a water body is transformed into a terrestrial habitat. Artificial, that is man-made eutrophication, is caused by agricultural runoff containing fertilizers, septic system, sewers, sewage sludge, animal wastes containing high amounts of nutrients. Among these nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus are very important. Elevated levels of atmospheric nitrogenous compounds increase bioavailability of nitrogen, and nitrates as fertilizers are highly water soluble, so move readily with surface runoff into water bodies. Role of phosphorus is also very important, and it is considered as the main culprit for eutrophication. It is the limiting factor for plants' growth in freshwater ecosystem. It strongly adheres to soil. Therefore, it is transported by soil erosion. Once translocated to the lakes, it is very difficult to extract the phosphorus. So, it is not easy to reverse the effects of eutrophication. The chief sources of this excess phosphorus in aquatic ecosystem as well as ecosystem are industrial, agricultural and domestic runoff containing fertilizers and detergents.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yes.
What are the effects of eutrophication?
Eutrophication leads to serious consequences like increased phytoplankton biomass, where toxic or inedible species can grow, changes in macrophyte composition, loss of desirable fish species, decreased biodiversity, decrease in water quality like increased turbidity, smell, color, BOD, COD, problems in water treatment, health problems if eutrophication interferes with drinking water, decrease in perceived aesthetic value of water body like rivers, lakes, etc. In this picture, we can see that dead fishes which are suspected to be entrapped in toxic algal bloom, which is accelerated due to eutrophication.
I have a question, ma'am.
Yes,
How to overcome the problem of eutrophication?
some immediate actions are needed to overcome this problem of eutrophication. Decreasing soil erosion as it carries fertilizer with it, enhancing vegetation can help in this situation. Increasing efficiency of fertilizer application can help. Restoring wetlands are the important sites of denitrification, as wetlands are important sites for denitrification where the bacteria reduce nitrate to nitrogen, which is volatilized into the atmosphere. And going for an alternative agricultural practices involving soil conservation strategies and skillful application of fertilizer. Now we can understand that water food chain upwelling and eutrophication function in a dynamic, changing aquatic environment. But daily and annual biogeochemical cycles drive changes in water chemistry and species composition, ultimately causing misbalancing in the aquatic ecosystem. Thank you.